In 1997, a team of behavioral psychologists set up a hidden camera in a standard, completely unremarkable corporate waiting room. It looked just like any other waiting room you have ever been, in drab walls, cold, fluorescent lighting, and rows of uncomfortable plastic chairs. They wanted to observe a very specific, almost invisible aspect of human behavior that usually goes unnoticed in our daily lives. The experiment was deceptively simple. An actor, hired by the researchers, would enter the room carrying a massive, towering stack of loose white papers. He would walk across the room and intentionally, violently bump directly into a complete stranger, spilling every single sheet of paper across the floor. But here is the real twist of the experiment. The actor did not apologize. He didn't say a word. Instead, he just stood there completely silent, waiting to see exactly how the victim would react to this sudden violation of their personal space. The results shocked the researchers. In 82% of the cases, the person who was bumped into the completely innocent party who had done absolutely nothing wrong was the very first one to open their mouth and say, "I'm sorry." Stop and think about that for a second. Why do we do this? Why does your brain automatically force you to apologize for a mistake that someone else made against you? If you ask most people, they will tell you it is simply because they are a good person. They will say they are just polite, highly empathetic, deeply well-mannered, and want to keep the peace. You might look at your own life and think that your constant need to please others is a beautiful moral virtue. But modern neuroscience suggests something much colder, much more calculated, and slightly terrifying. Your chronic politeness is not a moral virtue at all. It is a deeply hardwired evolutionary defense mechanism designed by your ancient biology to keep you from being completely destroyed by the group. To truly understand why your brain operates this way, we have to travel back over 50,000 years into our evolutionary past. Back then, living as a solitary individual was not an option. Being an active, accepted part of a close-knit hunter-gatherer tribe wasn't a lifestyle choice or a social preference. It was your literal life support system. Every single thing required for your immediate survival, from hunting large game to securing shelter and protecting yourself from predators, depended entirely on the cooperation of the group. If the tribe liked you and approved of your behavior, you were allowed to stay warm by the campfire and share the food. If the tribe rejected you, if you caused even a slight amount of friction or conflict, you were cast out. And in the prehistoric world, being cast out meant a slow, agonizing, and guaranteed death alone in the frozen wilderness. Because the stakes were so incredibly high, the human brain had to develop a way to prevent social banishment at all costs. It created an incredibly sensitive, hyper-reactive alarm system located deep within your ancient emotional center, the amygdala. This primitive part of your brain does not understand the complexities of modern social life. It does not know the difference between a minor disagreement over an email and a life-threatening physical crisis. To your amygdala, social conflict feels exactly the same as a physical attack by a deadly predator. When someone is visibly upset with you, your modern intellect might see a simple argument, but your survival brain sees a tiger preparing to strike you down. Most people are familiar with the classic survival responses taught in basic biology: fight, flight, or freeze. When danger appears, you either attack, run away, or go completely rigid. But modern psychology has identified a hidden fourth response that is just as powerful, yet far more insidious. It is called the fawn response. Fawning is the immediate, automatic act of pacifying, pleasing, and coddling an aggressor to instantly eliminate the threat of conflict. It is your brain choosing to completely surrender its own boundaries in order to ensure its immediate safety. But how does a natural, temporary survival instinct turn into a chronic, everyday personality trait that controls your entire adult life? The answer to this mystery lies buried deep within your childhood blueprint. Human children are unique in the animal kingdom because they are entirely, utterly dependent on adults for their survival for a massive period of time. A child cannot run away from home and survive on their own, and they certainly cannot physically fight back against a towering adult authority figure. If a child happens to grow up in an environment where the parental figures are emotionally unpredictable, highly volatile, chronically stressed, or offer love only on strict conditions, the child's nervous system instantly goes into a state of permanent overdrive. They quickly realize that they cannot rely on a stable environment, so they become hypervigilant. They learn to read the emotional climate of a room the exact same way a bomb disposal expert approaches a live explosive. Every heavy footstep in the hallway, every sharp sigh from the kitchen, every microscopic shift in a parent's vocal tone becomes a critical piece of code that must be instantly analyzed and deciphered. To survive in this volatile environment, the child's brain discovers a brilliant, highly effective magic shield: absolute compliance. They realize a hidden rule: if I agree with everything they say, they won't get mad at me. If I immediately take the blame for things I didn't even do, the terrifying screaming will stop. If I can make myself completely invisible and perfectly useful, I will be completely safe from harm. But eventually, the years pass by. You grow up, you pack your bags, and you finally leave that childhood house behind. You enter the adult world, but here is the tragedy. The ancient survival software running in the background of your brain never gets updated. Now, you are an adult sitting in a modern office desk or trying to navigate an adult romantic relationship, but your nervous system is still operating on that exact same terrified childhood blueprint. When a manager sends you a slightly cold email that doesn't include any friendly emojis, your rational mind knows they are probably just busy. But your hypervigilant amygdala instantly panics and screams, "The tribe is angry. You are about to be cast out into the wilderness to die." Your heart rate immediately spikes, your breathing becomes shallow, and a wave of familiar anxiety washes over your body. And before you even have a conscious chance to think about what you are doing, your fingers frantically type out a response. "So sorry to bother you. I just wanted to quickly check in and make sure everything is completely okay." You honestly believe you are just managing your career and being a diligent professional. But in reality, you are just a terrified child trying to calm down an ancient nervous system that feels like it is facing imminent death. This is the psychological phenomenon known as the curse of the good child. It is a silent prison that forces you to constantly betray your own needs, your own values, and your own mental health just to keep everyone else around you feeling perfectly comfortable. It forces you to say an enthusiastic yes to projects you have absolutely no time for, causing you to burn out. It forces you to swallow your true opinions in meetings because you are terrified of disagreement. It forces you to constantly apologize for simply taking up physical space in a room. You have transformed yourself into a professional, full-time peacekeeper, but the country you are protecting is never your own. And the worst part of this entire mechanism, the modern social system absolutely loves you for it. Society constantly rewards, praises, and encourages intense people-pleasing behavior because it is incredibly convenient and profitable for everyone else at your expense. But living a life completely built on constant fawning carries a massive, hidden, and compounding cost: total, absolute emotional exhaustion. You find yourself trapped in a body that never truly relaxes, always waiting for the next conflict to explode. You cannot simply flip a switch and turn off this alarm system in your mind. It has been running its protective routine for far too long. But you can learn how to consciously change its intensity. You can learn to transition that inner alarm from a sharp, agonizing laser that constantly cuts you open into a warm, gentle candle. A candle that is bright enough to help you see and protect your personal boundaries, yet gentle enough to warm your own soul before you try to fix anyone else. The very next time you feel that familiar, urgent panic rising in your throat, the urge to apologize for simply existing or stating a basic need, I want you to stop completely for just 3 seconds. Take a deep breath and look around you. Realize with absolute clarity that the prehistoric tiger is not in the room. Realize that you are no longer that helpless, vulnerable child trapped in an unpredictable house. You are an adult, you have agency, and you are fundamentally safe. You do not need to constantly purchase your right to belong in this world by making yourself endlessly useful, perfectly quiet, or completely agreeable to everyone around you. Your space on this earth is already paid for. If this deeply resonates with you, and if you recognize the tired, good child still pulling the levers inside yourself, leave a comment below. You are not broken, and you never were. You just learned an incredibly clever way to survive a difficult world. But now, The danger has passed, and it is finally time to learn how to truly live. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more deep journeys into the hidden machinery of the human mind. See you next time.